Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
Just a few things to get into before the show starts this week. I want to tell everyone about Bonehead's Wing Bar, 131 Washington Street, West Warwick. They do monthly wrestling there for all the pay-per-views. I wish everyone would go there, check it out. 50 sauces, 25 plus dry rubs, drinks, wrestling. What more could you ask for? The food there is top-notch, best wings I've ever had in my life. Definitely check it out. Bonehead's Wing Bar, 131 Washington Street, West Warwick. For SummerSlam, they're going to be airing SummerSlam live. They also do UFC events. So if you're ever looking to get out of the house for one of these pay-per-views, this is definitely the place to check out. And another thing I wanted to bring up is Top Rope Promotions Summer Showdown, Friday, August 26th, 6 p.m., Campanelli Stadium in Brockton, Massachusetts. Matches include a tables, ladders, and chairs match for the Top Rope Promotions heavyweight and interstate titles. The Devil's Reject Brandon Webb will be going against our friend Teddy Goods, and the event will also feature former WWE stars Kevin Nash, Vader, Tommy Dreamer, Gangrel, and a special appearance by Spike Dudley. Everyone, enjoy the show. Welcome, everybody. Episode 42, Hurricanrana Wrestling, the podcast. We're coming to you live now, as we started last week. Excited. More great things to come from us. We're working on things. Every week is going to be changes. Next week, we're going to have a whole new studio set up. We're excited to debut that. But for now, we're going to do this conventional setup that we've been using for 6+ months now. And next week, I think it's going to be a little sharper. So if you're listening at home on the podcast, thanks for listening as always. We've had a great push in listeners and subscribers on iTunes, Podbean, Stitcher. We're all over the place, so definitely go to iTunes. Definitely give us a rating. Tell us what you think about the show. Tell your friends what about the show. Get them to subscribe and to listen in. And if you have any feedback, you can always go to our Facebook page, Twitter, or Instagram and kind of give that to us. So definitely check us out. We're all over social media. Our podcast airs every Wednesday, live at 7 o'clock.
You forgot that?
Well, it didn't always air live. This is new.
Oh.
It didn't always air live. This is live now. Facebook Live, you get to see us talk crap about wrestling. It's pretty exciting.
We say it to your face.
Yeah.
But now, and you can also join in.
Yep.
So if
a
you are
face.
listening to the podcast like you've been listening to for 6 months, and you wanted to check out and kind of chime in with us, we are going to be able to see, your comments. They pop up, and we can read them out if they're any good. And as
If there
always,
are any.
if there are any, yeah. As long as it's not Mr. X blowing up our feed, as always.
Yeah.
But, please play along. And also, our YouTube channel. That's something new. Finally, I did mention last week that we were going to put this episode up on our YouTube channel, but I forgot to press record. So I didn't do that this week. It will be up. This will be our first video on our YouTube channel, and we will be having live videos coming up very soon. We're working on that as well. And there's all types of different things going on.
New
So
things happening.
it's
59 Media.
it's something new every week.
Yeah, it's great.
Trust me.
Every week is a new era.
My my bank account knows it. It feels it. So
He's got the
there is-
statements to prove
there
it.
is something new happening all the
Scars
time.
to prove.
Yes. A lot's happened this week. A lot's happened today.
Yeah.
Ooh, busy
day.
happy birthday to Paige today.
Yeah. 24 years
Not
old.
quite the present she was expecting from her boss.
Might be
Hey.
out of work at 24 years old.
I guess we should open up with the news of the day is the power couple of WWE.
the Lovebirds.
The Lovebirds. First they get split up.
Yeah.
And then I'll get into that, but now they're both suspended.
And both have a history of not being the favorites of the
Right.
those in charge. I mean, Del Rio
Even
once
before
fired.
he left.
Right.
Right.
he got-
Malcontents. Bunch of malcontents they are.
talk about social outcasts.
They get split up. They get split up, and then there's, heat there. There's been heat on both of them.
Yeah.
Especially Paige. You hear a lot more about that. She's young. What is
Crazy.
she? 24 today?
24
24
today.
today.
Wow. Yeah, that makes sense. I remember she turned 21. She was just debuting, right? So it's been about 3 years.
Yeah, she's been around.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow, time flies.
Well, you never see her on TV anymore.
Yeah,
because all she's doing is getting heat.
It's tough to see her 6 feet under.
Well, they want to put her on Total Divas and have cameras follow a young girl who's,
an idiot at that age.
Right.
An anti-diva.
Right. And hey, you're going to catch her doing some stuff that you don't want her to do. All right. So I don't know.
Then they hold it against her.
I love Paige. I've been a fan of Paige since day one.
Big time Paige fan.
Right. I was.
I think she
NXT. I was a huge fan.
Was she the first dib?
Ever.
Was she the first dib?
No.
Can we call you
Bray Wyatt.
a Paige Turner? Is that what Paige fans
Bray
call
Wyatt was the
Paige
first
Turner.
dibs, and for everyone listening at home, we've got this thing where if there's a guy who hasn't made it to the main roster yet or hasn't even been signed yet, sometimes someone wants to take claim to being the first to kind of
you want to call dibs on
who's next, and I'm 3 for 3.
Bray Wyatt was one.
Yep,
Paige
and Charlotte, all top notch.
I
got an eye for talent.
Fairly safe picks.
Those,
but
yeah.
You didn't call them.
Other than Paige, all background in wrestling, their family.
No,
Same thing with Paige.
No, Paige is
with the exception of Paige. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Who's Paige?
No, her mother.
Paige's mother was
Oh.
huge wrestler. Yeah,
I didn't know that.
overseas, her mother, her father, like her whole family. Paige was she won her first championship off her mother at like.
She's been wrestling.
I'm making this up, like 15, 16 years old.
She
But
started
she was young.
she started at 14. Like she's been doing it for 10 years already.
Yeah,
she's
right.
only 24.
She's definitely she's been in and out of the business for a long time. So,
but as you know, stuff in England and Europe, that stuff doesn't matter when you get over here.
suspended. I don't like it.
Happy 30 days.
30
Come back
days.
when you're 24.2.
I don't know that if. I don't know. Obviously, she's kind of a bonehead. Shout out to boneheads.
Yeah.
But
That's a good one there.
but you want to think that she's gonna mature eventually. She knows the business again, and you want to see. She's a great wrestler. She's great in the ring. She's kind of what started the Divas Revolution. I know that they want to claim it was that day that Charlotte, Becky Lynch, and Sasha Banks debuted, but Paige had already been there and done that with AJ Lee, and AJ Lee is another one that kind of left and was corrupted by her jerk of a boyfriend at the time.
That's why those couples never work.
I don't like the couple. So maybe they try to split them up on purpose to stop something like this from happening, and then gave them a very short leash. And then as soon as the brand split happens, and give them a week.
Well, clearly,
Pee in a cup.
You can stop them from working together. You can't stop them from training together.
No, you can't stop.
Because they both just got suspended within a few hours
now
of
they
each
get
other.
to be with each other for 30 days.
Yeah, now they get to get clean together.
Do you think they mind? I mean, is it something?
They may have been sticking it to them. Screw it. We're just gonna
Yeah, I'll take those 30 days and
take the 30
Go on
days.
vacation.
yeah, and enjoy the rest of the summer. We'll come back after, but you're missing SummerSlam. Not like they had huge roles in SummerSlam.
They
Did they
had no
didn't have
role.
any role?
No role. Yeah.
So they get the rest of the summer off.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a reset on them if they're going to come back. If they come back, I mean, we don't know how much heat is on both of them. It's kind of suspicious that they're suspended on the same day. They took a drug test. Not everybody takes a drug test on the same day. I'm sure of it. I'm sure John Cena didn't get a cup to pee in that day.
Well,
the
just
same day.
We all know that with Roman Reigns, we found out on Tuesday that come Monday they already knew, or Sunday or Monday they already knew
Right.
that he was going to get suspended. They just didn't announce it until after Raw on
Right,
Monday.
because they had plans already with him and they didn't want to mess it up.
Yeah, which just goes to show was this all part of a plan to suspend them together or spoil her birthdays maybe, or
Maybe
hey,
it's part
give her
of
a present.
Total Divas.
I think
maybe they're filming Divas next.
Maybe. Who knows? Who knows? Hey, you know what? We'll take you off TV for a little while.
Work.
But we're going to still have the cameras. I mean, is that part of the suspension? Is it? I don't know. With Total Divas, I mean, they're on TV. Would they take them off of something like Total Divas during something like this? That's interesting.
I think it's
because
different.
Since the first season, I've paid less attention to anything
Me
that
too.
happens.
I don't
I'm
know
not going to lie. I'm not
what's
going to sit
going on.
here.
I'm happy the show still goes, but I never. It is what it. Now it's kind of yeah. All right, I've seen enough Tyson Kidd and Natty. I'm
and that
over
cat.
it. And Eva Marie's on SmackDown now, so I don't have to watch Total Divas anymore.
Shout out to Rusty, who's listening. He said he loves the video feed.
He also Cole,
Again.
and while we were talking about it, he actually threw in one of his dibs on Kenny Omega.
Yeah.
So we got to file that onto the spreadsheet.
The cleaner? Is that what he is? The cleaner, the sweeper, whatever, something like that. But yeah, he's damn good in the ring.
Yeah, I was just talking about Kenny Omega with his brother last night.
Yeah. How'd that go?
Brief.
Just
we
brief.
were talking about the Cruiserweight Classic, and then Kenny Omega came up, and I was
Okay.
talking about another wrestler I want to profile. But we were talking about another wrestler, and then Kenny Omega came up.
Who's this wrestler? All right.
Cedric Alexander.
Okay. All right.
Hey,
Cruiserweight Classic is getting some attention.
I love it.
second round, man.
It's getting a lot of attention. And a lot of these guys, they signed 32. They didn't sign, but they have 32 guys in the tournament.
Yep.
And everybody wants all these guys to be signed. Now, I don't think the Cruiserweight division is going to be big enough for 32 guys. And it shouldn't be big enough for 32 guys. But there's not a lot of guys that are getting bad heat or just,
Well, not to spoil
Everybody's
it,
getting good reviews.
It already aired last week for the Cruiserweight Classic, the first couple matches of round 2.
Round 2, yeah.
And so no spoilers here that Kota Ibushi beat Cedric Alexander in that match. And after the match, which I loved, was the crowd chanting, "We want Cedric." Like how great of a match he put. It was, such an unreal finish for those who, watched it. And after the match, he's, very emotional, and he's walking up the ramp, and what do you see come out of the curtain is Triple H put his arm around him and kind of looked to the crowd who's chanting, "We want Cedric," and kind of was like, "Know what? Like, yeah,
so do
like, you're gonna get him."
Like,
And he took him backstage, and it's like, "You know what?
Like,
Like,
give the
that's the
fans a
stuff-
little thumbs up. All right,
yeah,
that's what you want.
You good taste because
Triple H listens to the crowd.
Yeah,
he's
that's
never
all.
been accused of not doing that like Vince has for years and years
Yep.
and decades and lifetimes.
he's the one who put Daniel Bryan over to
Right.
go with that.
I mean, Triple H is the guy who's going to be on the other side of the curtain watching closely, and he's going to be the guy that you would expect to come out and grab a guy who's getting that kind of reaction and putting his arm around him and, signing him right away. I mean, the guy put on a hell of a match.
Oh, great match! I'm so excited for the rest of this tournament.
Every week
much
there's
more
a
than I
great
thought.
match.
I thought this is something they were going to do, and I was like, oh, yeah, it's going to be kind of cool. Like, they'll do it, and maybe the last few matches will be... No, this thing's been friggin' awesome from match 1 through, like...
Do they
even
do they do this next year?
Like,
You
I'm
know,
even
like-
excited watching
Why not?
Tajiri.
Is it
They
gonna be
have
on
to.
Raw?
Oh, this is...
It's gonna be on
this
Raw,
is
though,
this was a brand
probably.
launch. When they were round 1, this was... They weren't just doing something. They were launching a brand.
Yeah.
That's how they worded it in the ring, was they're launching a brand.
So do you think that this is something that continues? I mean, this isn't the whole division.
Right, you could bring new people in every year.
You could, every year, but it's not going to be a weekly show, right?
No, they're part of Raw now.
Right.
So, there'll be a match or two on a Raw. Instead of getting Breezango versus the Golden Truth on Raw, you're going to get
Again?
a nice... Yeah.
Wait,
Not to burst your Raw bubble.
come on.
But we might get less Breezango in order to get more Cruiserweights.
I'm tuning out.
It's not going to be the Kali Natty segments of days past. We're going to be getting must-see TV with these Cruiserweights. Like you had in
Like
WCW.
on Nitro. Yeah.
Like you had in WCW. It's like,
Open
wow.
up the show with a Jericho against
Demon
Psychosis
Malenko,
or
Psychosis,
any-
any of those guys, and they're gonna set the tone. And it's also a great way if you're gonna have a champion, if you're gonna have top guys or guys that kind of stand out from the rest, have them open up pay-per-views. Have them, it's awesome. It would be
it's
great.
gonna be
It's
great.
great energy. It's something we've been missing for a long time. We've been asking for a cruiserweight division since Hornswoggle retired the belt. Let me repeat.
Wow.
Hornswoggle was your last cruiserweight champion in WWE. So it's something we've all been looking forward to, and here it is. And it's being done right. So I'm excited.
Right venue for it. So full sale. Perfect place.
Small venue. The crowd. I know.
Hot
the-
NXT
I
crowd.
know-
No, I don't like the crowd.
I know Mike hates the crowd, but it
There's
is.
times where they're right, but they're annoying.
They can be annoying. Sometimes it's too much.
It's a club.
It's their house.
Yeah.
Right.
They're the 12th man.
No.
So let's get into something else that's made the news this week. Is Stephanie McMahon has announced or kind of proclaimed that she wants to add
BT.
there's so many
Right?
now LGBT
I think that's right.
characters
Yes.
into the storyline, into storylines, into the product. So here's my opinion on this, and I've been thinking about this, and I actually had a debate with someone about this week. How are they going to go about doing that? Now, we all know when Darren Young came out of the closet 2 years ago, right? Roughly?
Yeah, about that. Sounds right.
That they had a golden opportunity that if they were going to do something like this, here was your chance. Now, Darren Young certainly isn't the first homosexual wrestler in WWE, WCW, or any of that. I mean, we know a bunch of names. But openly announcing it on social media, I believe it was TMZ that broke that story years ago.
Yeah, actually.
Okay, so he's kind of the first person to do that. Awesome. You know, we've had a homosexual guest on our show before, and he was very open, you know, talking about, you know, his experiences in locker rooms and stuff. So, but here's my problem. And if they do it this way, now you have him,
Darren
Young. If you don't utilize him, then are you going to take one of these guys from NXT? Are you going to turn, you know, Fandango homosexual? Or are you going to turn someone like Tyler Breeze homosexual, or even someone we're not even thinking of, and make that a storyline where you're kind of forcing it? And so you're saying you're trying to do it, you know, in a way to kind of change with the times. But we know these storylines are pre-written, and we know that they're, you know, how would you feel about them making someone gay? How do you think that would do anything for them, you know, PR-wise, if they just made, guess what, you're gay now, go out there and be gay and just act gay,
Yeah.
You know, do gay things.
That's offensive.
Right. It's kind of offensive. So are they going to take someone like Darren Young and use his homosexuality and just be more open with it? Or, because they haven't mentioned his homosexuality on TV.
No.
You know, they haven't in his character at all, ever. You know.
But meanwhile, they're still doing the things like with the
No hate and all that.
End Zone cast or Big Cast talking about Bert and Ernie in the tub and doing all these like gay innuendo jokes. Like, it's not good to be gay. If you're gay, then you're Bert and Ernie. Or
right.
You know, we talked about that last week, and it led right into this.
Yeah.
People took notice last week.
Of course.
And that's what got them talking about this and adding into the storylines. But yeah, Eric, you bring up a great point. How do they execute it? And the problem is, you have, say, a gay babyface. What are you going to have? A gay hater be the...
Right, to bash someone?
The heel?
Yeah.
Right? So you're going to take somebody that, you know, upstanding person, good person, say, Fandango, whatever, and you make him somebody that hates gays?
Poor Fandango.
You know,
He's gotta get
whatever,
right.
anybody. But you got to make somebody hate gays.
He made the
as
show
part
this
of the
week.
storyline.
Yeah, hey,
He made the show this week.
You know, the thing is, in any other type of media, like a movie, you can do that. But with wrestling, it's... Everyone knows it's fake, F word, but if you say that person hates gays, people are going to take it seriously. Even though it's a...
Ask Muhammad
even though it's a
Hassan.
work.
Ask
Children,
Muhammad
stuff like
Hassan.
that.
Right? So
How that works
it's
out.
a tight balance. Like, how do you do it? You can't do it. You can't have, like, somebody outward being the baby face and then someone hating on them. Because they're going to get heat even though they're just pretending to be a gay basher. And they don't want to do that.
No.
So it's like, how can you do it in the wrestling world where you have good against bad?
Especially when, and I don't like to use the F word when it comes to wrestling, but we're not stupid. We know that it's scripted, and we're going to be able to tell if someone's really gay or not, you know, in real life. And I don't want to see it forced on a character who... listen, if you're an up-and-coming guy and they say go out there and be gay, you might be like, yes, I'll do whatever it takes to get on TV. Right. If you're comfortable with it, if you're good enough to pull that character off, because not everyone will be, that might be something you're into just to get exposure. But then do you have to be gay for the rest of your career? I mean, how do you switch? Do you go back and forth?
Well, they would have to use someone like Darren Young, someone that is actually gay, right?
You
know
think
what?
that, but do
but
they?
That brings up the point I'm going to make is now, all right, Darren Young, he's out of the closet. He's openly gay. Everybody knows that now. All right, so you have a role for somebody who's a homosexual. He goes in that role. You have somebody else who comes out of the closet. Are they not gay enough to play that role? Like, or if they say it's somebody that has an on-air female with them, And like a Rusev, I mean, yes, we all know they really got married. That's no big secret. But say we
For
didn't know all
example.
that. But say you've come to find out Rusev is gay. But you got him with arguably the hottest chick in wrestling right now by his side on his on screen, but off screen he's dining with Pat Patterson.
But does he look like too much of a tough guy to play a gay character?
But that's the thing. Like now,
Right.
is he not gay enough to
Right.
be the gay guy on TV? And now
Yeah.
it's like, so then you're walking that line now where it's like, just by writing them in or not, you can offend the wrong people.
Another thing that could offend is you have say Darren Young. I'll use Darren Young because he is gay, and they don't push him to win a title. And what they're trying to do is to promote lesbian gays being on the show and being utilized that way, and then they don't get a push, and then it's like, oh, how come you're not pushing the gay guys? So it causes another controversy.
Rusty has a great point. I mean, on the chat here, which you can always interact with the show live now. He's saying it would be tough, to change a character if it fails. If they want to get away from this somehow,
You can't forget it.
you can't forget it happened because they're probably going to have to put a lot into this to, someone's phone volume's on. We're all watching the feed. Mike.
Come on, Mike.
You'd have to put a lot into this if they're going to come out and to finally acknowledge gay characters on the product. Just do it justice. I'm A-okay with this happening, and I think it should happen. It's long overdue. Do it right.
Good luck.
Don't screw this up because
it's going to be
offend
easy
a
to.
lot
It
of
is
people.
tricky.
It's good luck.
Very thin
And
line.
as a fan of the business, I just hope this goes smoothly.
Yes,
I support it. I just hope it goes smoothly because it's going to be easy to fuck it. Mess it up.
They should.
Yeah.
My opinion is they shouldn't try to work it into storylines. They should just do like promotion, to reach out to gay communities and advertise
But you
it
know
in
what,
segments,
but if-
not put it part of their storyline. Because
But
you run into so many issues when you do that.
We got all the fans who support, like they have that hero in John Cena. There's a lot of closet gay kids who don't want to come out because they're kids and they're gonna get statistically they're gonna get bullied. They want somebody to look up to too. So it's
changing,
It's kind of it's fair to them to let there be one or two on air superstars who feel the same
Represent,
way they do.
It's
always a touchy
I'm looking
issue.
forward to it.
Yeah, this is something we could probably go like all night about.
Well, we're going to talk about this again because it's going to actually happen, and we're going to have to touch on how they're executing it.
Know what else is going to happen?
What else?
Something we've been waiting. The fans are waiting a couple of years for.
We already talked about the Cruiserweights.
No.
Big Show retired.
I knew you were going there. Well, it's the end of the big
Listen,
show.
he did announce that this week, and he said that he said he was in great shape. Now,
Yeah, I lost 100 pounds or something.
wow. He was
In the
getting
past year.
big.
Past year.
He was getting really big,
Which
and
is easy for
clumsy.
him. Yeah.
Yeah, he was definitely getting way out of shape. You could tell it in the ring. He couldn't even walk right. Starting to get worried about him because he's not one of those guys like Andre the Giant. You could tell had issues with his size. He was another big guy, but he's someone who at the end of his life couldn't walk.
Crutches.
He was a mess.
Yeah.
Even the Great Khali
Even
always
at
had.
pay-per-views, he showed up at crutches.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, Great Khali looked like on stilts.
Right.
Yeah.
He looked like he couldn't bend his knees,
Right.
and he walked like really robotic. But he's not that guy. I just feel like, lately he's gained a lot of weight that he's having trouble holding. It's a lot of weight,
Yeah, he's a huge human.
Right. So for him, 100 pounds added on that frame, that's a lot. I mean, he's got a lot of frame.
It's
to
only
carry
20%.
so much weight.
That's like us adding 40. Like, yeah,
Right.
40 is a lot. Now imagine
It's a lot.
gaining 40 pounds all of a sudden.
So it showed. So if he wants to go out right, he said he's getting into shape. He's eating right. He's doing the right thing. And then it seems like the match that we've been waiting for. Also, they've teased it at Royal Rumble.
I don't know if I'm waiting for it,
But
I'll watch it.
I'm a Shaq fan.
We don't. I think we've been waiting for it to just happen.
I think Shaq needs to go on the diet too with Big Show.
I think that he'll be able to get in shape before WrestleMania.
Yeah.
He's got plenty of time.
He's an athlete.
Right.
Yep.
I think it'll be entertaining if done right. I hope that Shaq trains for this. And I'm not just saying get into shape. I'm not just
Take it
saying
seriously.
but get in the ring.
It's Mania.
Come here, go to the lockup, train with Ryan Drew. Tell him we sent you, and learn how to wrestle for
5-minute match.
A 5-minute match.
Yeah.
That's
5 minutes of wrestling, 10
That's all
minutes
it's gonna
of
be.
stare downs,
Yeah.
pushes, battle.
Exactly.
test of strength.
Yeah, they're gonna. We haven't seen that in years.
Shaq will
Right?
probably
Bring it back.
Shaq's move is probably going to be like a big foot to the face.
Right, yeah.
That'll be
Hulk,
what it
Hulk
is.
Hogan's leg drop.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if that's his special guest manager for that match. Remember where you heard it first.
Hey, Shaq, I think I remember Shaq giving a leg drop in WCW.
Probably.
Probably.
Well, he was that Dennis
rolling.
Rodman's move
He
too.
was rolling with Hogan for a while.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Hogan shows up for Mania.
What?
I mean, everything's all
This-
well. Not only did
Is
he,
it?
not
Oh, yeah.
only is his lawsuit over, but the company he won the lawsuit
Crushed him.
from isn't even around anymore.
And that guy, he's out of it. He's like broke now. The guy.
Yeah, he's.
Oh my
So it's
God.
almost like
got
it
toasted.
got Chris Benoit. So it's almost like, you know what? This didn't happen anymore. Welcome back.
Right.
Because we can all make money off of this.
Yeah, yeah. I wonder. Now think about it this way. Do you think Shaq in his prime, one of the greatest centers of all time? I don't care what anyone says.
I was just watching Shaq's 61-point game yesterday on NBA Classic.
The guy was a beast. You couldn't be stopped.
Unstoppable.
Do you
man.
think that if he had trained in the off season to wrestle at WrestleMania, well, I guess that's not the off season, but at a SummerSlam, that's the off season. You know, does that? You know, would he been just as good as someone like Big Show, or just as good as someone like, you know, I don't want to put him on Kane's
Kane?
level.
I was gonna say,
Nah,
you
Kane's
know
good.
what? Kane really.
Or
is
like
good.
Kevin Nash, who's kind of a junkie
thing
in the
that
ring.
worries me about Shaq, I think he'd be able to do it. I think he'd be an overseller. Because
But
he's not.
if he trained, I'm saying, in his prime, like really gave it
If he
100%.
100%, I think he's capable.
not
of
like he
doing it.
practices free throws, but like but like he practiced being a badass in the paint.
Like
that.
practice breaking backboards.
Yes,
Yes.
that.
I-
You know. But I think that in his prime he's such a good athlete and he can move
And he's a good actor.
and is a
He's
Okay,
an
actor.
experienced
Blue
actor.
Chip. I thought he was good in Blue
he's,
Chip.
He's acted before.
he's acted.
He acts. Kazam. What was it
Kazam, yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
not talking
boy.
about that.
Man,
That was a video game.
he could even do his own
Actually,
entrance music.
I think
Because he can rap.
I retract
Did he
my
come here to
statement.
shoot it? No.
I really retract that statement. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
He's not a good actor.
Mike's gonna get roasted in the
Yeah,
chat.
you are. Yeah, it's happening. But I wonder if he could have been, you know, I'm not going to say he's going to be just as good of a basketball player as he was
As
a
a
wrestler as he was a basketball player. But I wonder if he could have been a good, serviceable big man in the offseason to do some big matches every year and to kind of get out there and kick some butt.
Could he have beaten former world heavyweight champion Great Khali?
Yes.
Yep.
I hope so.
Yep.
Oh, it's funny with Shaq being at Mania. A lot of the kids will be like, "Who's Shaq?"
Right. I know.
Like,
Well, there's always those
Who the hell
older
is that
wrestlers
guy?
that come in that would. I mean, every year
Right.
there's somebody.
Oh, look at Royal Rumble '94. Half the people on that Royal Rumble, I'm like, I don't know who these guys
Right,
are.
it's like you have to
There's
be
like 12
watching-
guys from Japan that showed up for that one because they
Yeah.
had like no roster for '94.
Well,
it was,
Yeah, it's sometimes I look back at those old pay-per-views and I don't recognize, and I've seen them
Yeah.
all, you know. But
it's
there's
like now I remember like jumping Jim Brunzell, but that guy was in so many matches. Like, what the hell is this guy doing here?
you know, to bring it up quick, there's going to be a lot less of that at WrestleMania. You know, people you don't recognize or the kids don't recognize from years past because of that giant lawsuit that's going on. You know, where
Oh, yeah.
everybody who's ever taken a bump in WWE in the '80s seems to be suing Vince McMahon. So
Everybody who didn't get a call back for the draft is suing because
every
they got hit.
pretty
in the
much
head.
everybody.
Yeah.
I mean,
Even Animal.
you gotta have a death wish if you want to try to sue Vince McMahon.
Yeah.
You're gonna be cut out of
The guy's-
wrestling for life.
the guy's connected.
Yeah, when you got money like Vince McMahon, you make people disappear.
Yes, absolutely. So maybe
Even
next
if,
year,
even if it's
maybe,
yourself.
maybe next year they have to bring back Hulk Hogan because there's nobody else. They won't be bringing back guys like Jimmy Snuka, who's part of the. It's the concussion
That
lawsuit.
lawsuit.
Yeah.
You know, that guy's
The
brain,
NFL
brain
suit.
is mush. at
Oh
this
yeah,
point.
it's about as
Too many
probably
coconuts to the head.
Too many
Yeah.
coconuts to the head.
One's enough.
They don't even let you do chair shots to the head anymore, and they're letting the stuff that he did. Forget about it.
Man,
Maybe he's got a point, or maybe this lawsuit. I don't want to see. Knock it off already with the suing, and there's always something going on.
that's what you signed up for. You
Yeah.
you loved it. Stop complaining. Stop complaining now because you know there's money to be made.
You're right.
You made it. You just put it up your nose instead.
So, Shawn Michaels signs a contract.
Yeah.
Want to tell us about that a little bit? That's interesting. I
Yeah.
thought he was done.
Right. Well,
I don't think he's going to
he's not
wrestle.
gonna wrestle, but
I
it's
just
like
thought he was happy doing what he was doing.
Yeah.
You know, he's got his own little
on the ranch or whatever.
on the ranch. He's going hunting. He's got the little TV show thing going on. I mean, even when he comes to the ring now, he's wearing logos for that. So they're even letting him promote it. And, you know, now he's got his own
Yeah, it's like Stone Cold. He wears the Broken Skull stuff
all the
during
time. Yeah.
podcasts.
His IPA
Yeah.
and the ranch
So
and stuff.
You know,
Yeah, well,
he might even start hosting podcasts.
Goes to show you why he's
On
still
the
in such
network.
great shape when he showed up at Mania this year. I mean, the guy showed up like he could still go.
Yeah.
Michaels.
And he went
And-
a little bit. You know, he moves around a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know if he could, you know, be Mr. WrestleMania anymore, but he could certainly
Oh,
do a couple spots.
I think he could perform a better match than probably at least
Big Show and
2/3
Shaq.
of the roster. That's
I like to
Gotta
see him
be
come in as a GM or something.
I thought he would have been
Commissioner
perfect for
Michaels?
something like that. You know, then you could have had that back and forth. I think if he gets too close, though, you're going to have to see him in another match. And
Well, know what I would like actually? The Triple H, Shawn Michaels going at each other like one has Raw, one has SmackDown eventually.
that would
Like
have been
in a
fun.
year.
And that's going to change. It's not always going to be
Right.
Mick Foley and Daniel Bryan, who I think both of them are pretty boring in their roles. I don't think they were the right picks at all. I said this when they were picked. I just think it was for that pop when their music hit. And the
You would
excitement.
have popped for anybody that walked out probably.
Right.
You know,
Exactly.
that you haven't seen in a while.
I think they're going to eventually switch it up, and I would hope that a guy like Shawn Michaels would be perfect for that role. There's a lot of guys out there. I mean, how good would like Road Dogg be as a general manager? I think he'd be a lot more charismatic. If you're not looking for that pop, you know, you'll get it with him. But I think he'd be really good in a role like that, or someone like him. You know, it doesn't have to be, former world champions, in my opinion.
It doesn't have to be, no.
No, absolutely not. So yeah, look at this. We crushed that first segment.
Yeah, that was the news,
I like
by
it.
the way.
That was the news.
But there's some other news, though, and we talked last week a little bit about it, that we wanted to try to talk a little bit more TNA if there's something going on. And there was something going on in TNA this past week on Impact, and that was the debut of Damian Sandow going by his new name, Aron Rex, which his name is Aron. I don't know why they just didn't spell it like Aaron. Aron. A-R-O-N, Rex.
You think that was a typo? And they just said, shoot, now we're stuck with it? Because it's TNA we're talking about,
Yeah.
right?
They might not have spell check. They might have Mr. X spell
I
check.
mean, they might have ruined, and just been stuck with it. Who knows? I saw Damian Sandow or Aron Rex or Aron Rex. Okay. I saw him a couple weeks ago at a show in Pawtucket. He looked great. He looked fantastic. Cut his hair a little bit. He was in
Shaved.
great shape. He looked really good. And I'm like, why the hell did they let this guy go?
That was dumb. We talked about that when they let all those people go. That was the big one.
That was the big one.
Yeah.
I don't think he was world heavyweight champion material, and I still thought that a guy like, for a bigger opportunity missed was a guy like Wade Barrett.
Oh, yeah. That's right. He was another one.
Yeah. So, but to see him, the guy looked amazing. I was, this far away from him, as far as away as I am to you, and the guy looked, he's bigger than you think, and he's got a good look, and he's just like, they really messed him up. And he went to the ring and he did his spots, and the crowd went nuts for him, on the indies, he's never going to be a bad guy.
Yeah, no, he's way too liked.
Yeah,
Yeah,
way
like
too
respected by the fans.
Yep.
He actually wrestled Adam Rose that night. And it was
Oh.
it was an okay match. It was good. I liked it. I didn't think it would be long until he was signed somewhere, but I'm happy for him. To go to TNA and to get that new start. And I think they're probably going to use him. They have used guys a little better because they're kind of forced to, because their star talent isn't as big as in WWE. So a guy like Damian
Which
Sandow
is nice to see, though.
can be.
They can
The
showcase
mid-carders can be.
the guys. Maybe he
headliners.
can be one of the guys to take one of the belts off of Bobby Lashley. So he's
One
not
of the
hoarding them
belts.
all.
Just one,
Just one of them. Just give him one of them. I mean, it shouldn't be too tough.
Man, why is he the champion? Why is he all the champions? When you got a guy like Mike Bennett, EC3, who was a champion. Why?
Because all the champions are in
three.
NXT.
Yeah, true. it's enough's enough with that.
Then you got Billy Corgan, who's running the show now.
Now,
Smashing
okay,
That's why.
Pumpkins.
forgive me if I'm wrong. Billy Corgan from the Smashing Pumpkins, who they haven't been relevant in 20 years. I was never a fan of them. I'll admit that. I am a 90s kid. I liked all the music. I loved the alt rock scene. I was never a Smashing Pumpkins guy. Is this real? Now, forgive me. I'm the host of the show. I should know this question, but I'm going to ask you guys. is it real or
It's
is it just
real. It's
storyline?
legit.
Is
No,
he really the
he
president
really
now?
is
This
the
has
president
been-
now.
this
Did
has
Dixie
been-
Carter really get demoted?
No, she is promoted. She runs the whole business aspect of it and ongoing ventures in.
But she got taken out of that role, and now
Right.
it's his.
Right, but she got
She got promoted.
promoted.
Okay. So he's really the president of
Yeah.
TNA.
Yep.
Wow.
TNA, what's it called? Impact Ventures is the name of the company. So
Yep.
he's the president of that, and apparently he's been a wrestling fan his whole life and blah blah blah. But
I've been talking about him in wrestling for years. They've been talking about him buying TNA years ago.
Yeah.
I remember.
he's
this
been
is going
involved
back.
for like 3 years.
That's been
I
the
think.
most
yeah.
ongoing storyline in TNA is Billy Corgan the boss yet or not?
Right. Yes. The answer
Yeah.
is
Now
yes.
he's
Finally,
the
yeah.
boss for real.
Yeah.
It's not a
That's
gimmick.
crazy.
It's
I wonder
real.
how that'll work, and
Having
interesting.
money is how it works.
But he's a wrestling fan, He's not just
But he's
some name they brought in.
but apparently he's trusted.
Yeah.
Like, that just goes
He-
to show.
Probably paid his dues over the last couple of years, and finally, he went from wrestling fan to head of a wrestling company. What do they have to lose at this point?
Really?
Viewers? No, there's none. So you're only going to gain, and not because Smashing Pumpkins fans are going to
Right.
flock to
No-
TNA
no
shows
one
now.
cares about that.
No, but
Maybe he has good ideas.
maybe he has good ideas as just a fan of the business and someone who's
And
been.
he's got the money to back it up.
I think they're on an upswing right now.
You think TNA is definitely on an
Yeah.
upswing? They're signing guys left and right, like
Yeah.
guys like
And I'm watching now.
Aaron Rex, and Mike Bennett, and these guys are getting a lot of names that are exciting, that you want to see on a bigger stage, and yeah, you're definitely going to tune in now to see what's going on.
Yeah.
Um,
And it's live every now and then now. Live, I don't know, live in quotes. I don't know.
we're live more than TNA is now. All right? I just want to put that out there.
Yeah.
Hurricane Wrestling, the podcast is.
Hurricanrana.
Did I say Hurricane?
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to edit that out. I can't even say my own damn show name.
That's how strong we are.
That's
I'm
a
gonna
wrap.
catch some heat in the chat for that one. I'm definitely gonna catch some heat for
Hurricane
that
is
one.
on your mind.
Well, we had a discussion earlier.
Yeah.
You know where that came from,
Yep,
right?
yep.
We had
Exactly.
not only were we having that discussion, but I was having it with someone else, like really in it. Anyway, Hurricanrana Wrestling, the podcast, is live more than TNA is. I need to-
Uncooked.
Please,
and
someone change the
uncensored.
subject.
All right, let's get to the big story. This is what everyone's talking about this week, and that is the Demon King. Demon Kane. There's a lot of that, right? Every time it says Demon
I've been
King,
hearing.
you think of Demon Kane.
I'm waiting for him to show up in the bathroom mirror now. I hear his name so many times.
If
The
they
Demon King.
right,
Right.
if they wanted to be like jokey with it, Kane would show up and be like, "You guys want?
You
me?"
guys looking? You looking for me? You looking for me?
But the
With
whole
the voice box.
yeah,
You looking for me?
So the whole big thing is they debuted the Demon King, the Demon, as we used to call him, on Raw, and I think we were all looking forward to. And I posted a poll on Hurricanrana Twitter's page about should it be tonight on Monday or SummerSlam, and everyone was voting for SummerSlam, but still they went with Raw. Now, does this change anything going into SummerSlam with the match? Is it wrong that they did it? What are you guys' thoughts on this whole thing? I have my thoughts, but I want to hear you guys first.
I am surprised they didn't wait. I don't know about changing anything. We'll see. I don't know. I don't know where they're going with this,
No.
man. It's getting really
Yeah.
interesting, and I'm really starting to think that he's going to win the belt. I really, really
last
am.
week,
They're
last
really
week I
putting
talked
him
you
over.
into that. Last
Yeah,
week,
you did. You did. You
know,
definitely.
I wanted Finn.
You were the
weeks
first
ago.
Finn guy,
I
and
got you to
I'm
go
a Finn
for
guy
last
now. Yeah.
week, but then with this happening, it made me think. Crap, they're not going to. They're going to debut him on Raw,
So they don't have to
so
have
they
him
don't have
lose.
to right. So if he
Mm.
loses debuting as the Demon, they wouldn't do that. Now I think Seth Rollins is going to walk away with it.
My guy.
Am I the only Finn guy now?
No, I'm Finn guy. I want Finn. I'm sticking to it.
Okay.
I want to be the guy next.
It wasn't
week
who you
where-
wanted. It was who you
who
thought.
think. Yeah. I'm still sticking with the Finn,
Okay.
Oh, don't flip flop now that we're live.
but it made me feel like
No,
they might be going towards Seth.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. I think they're using based on the taste in my mouth I have from the last like big hyped up matches and situations. Like look at the Jericho and AJ Styles situation. That turned into like they wrestled 3 times in 2 weeks on
Right.
free TV before you got them in a pay-per-view, and it was like so like muddled, that whole feud type situation. The whole Finn Balor hype is, yes, it's hyping Balor, but it's really just still putting Seth Rollins over. Seth Rollins is still going to walk out the man because he's been doing all the right things. And Finn Balor will have his respect, and he'll be respected as a main event guy. But Seth Rollins is walking out with whatever ugly belt they give him that night.
Yeah, I wonder what the belt's gonna look like. That's probably the biggest reveal now.
Yeah, I'm worried about this belt. I still have hope they change the name between now and then.
No, they
That
won't.
Seth
I
Rollins.
think they kind of committed at this
You got
point.
a world and a universal.
Oh no, because the belt's not. They haven't shown a belt with a plate that says Universal on it. I still think they might have a way to, and they could really to draw interest.
They're really making fun of it a lot too on WWE programming.
And SmackDown, yeah, they
Right,
kind of
SmackDown is crapping
Daniel
all
Bryan,
over it.
yeah, they
And
like
talking
taking
smack.
shots. Yeah, they take shots at the belt quite often.
John Cena
so
made fun of it last night, talking about how Shane McMahon's, not Shane McMahon, whoever is going to come out wearing a tinfoil belt Universal Championship.
This Talking Smack show,
It's pretty uncut, I think.
and they're making it must watch, which adds more wrestling you have to commit to during the week.
Right.
I'm
I
having-
watch Talking Smack. It's another half hour.
And it's like, how much more are you going? It's a lot. I keep saying this every week.
There's
It's a
the
lot.
pre-shows that they announce things on now.
Yeah.
You know, they have segments like if you didn't watch the Raw pre-show, then you didn't know that primetime players were coming back together for the night. And then you were just surprised with it.
And then
you
you're just surprised with it, right?
But
And they
it
don't
was
even want you to
announced.
watching commercials. They want you to watch the app during commercials so you can see the live. You know,
Right.
they want you watching wrestling in more. I get it.
Well, that's
but
the whole point, I guess.
I guess they're not afraid to, kind of wear people out with this. So, hey, we're watching,
Yeah.
right? So,
you're already getting roasted in the chat.
am I?
Yeah.
Oh boy, that didn't take long.
Just to explain why I'm laughing on camera right now. You're already getting roasted in the chat.
I like
Yeah.
Pat's comment about Billy Corgan is David Arquette light.
Yeah, he is. But you know what? No, David Arquette was kind of a guy that they brought in, and that was a joke. He never should have been in the ring. Billy Corgan goes in the ring. I will never watch TV again. TNA again. TNA TV again.
Billy Corgan does go in there. You mean to wrestle?
To wrestle. Yeah. He better never be champion either. You know, he better not be with the guy who takes one of the belts off Bobby Lashley. You know, so if they do something like that, if they stay away from that, I think he could be a lot better as a fan. So, you know, kind of looking forward to it, seeing where it goes. Good luck, TNA, because I think that, you know, one thing we need is just more wrestling to watch. There's not enough. So give us something to watch every week.
Yeah, good point by a commenter in the chat is only TNA is on Pop. Like they need to be on an actual network.
Right, you
They were on Spike.
to
They had a
progress.
chance on Spike,
For years.
Yeah,
For
they
years.
had
Decade.
sloppy seconds when WWE left.
but they warmed up the chair for him almost,
Yeah.
you know. So
Yeah,
that
and
was
they
there.
dropped that, but that is a hurdle they need to get over for them to actually start being back on that upswing that they could be leading to. That is a very good point.
Yeah. Shout out to Michael McBride. He said this is sweet. Thanks for listening.
Yeah.
Thanks for, playing along with us. We like that we can have interactions during the show. It's fun.
Know what we need though? Also for the watchers, the viewers, download
Commercials?
the podcast and listen to that too.
Oh.
Yeah. Listen to us on your
'Cause
ride to work.
I don't know. I think our numbers went down a little bit because people watched the
That's
live,
fine.
and then
But they're gonna be, they're gonna be doing this
as
too.
long as they're hearing us. I
We're
guess,
getting it out
right?
there. We're getting our name out there, whether we're doing it live. We're not getting paid by iTunes. I mean, I'd love you to go and subscribe and, leave us a rating and stuff so more people can listen to us. But we're definitely, it's
We're rising.
as long as they're listening, either way. Hey, listen, the studio setup next week's going to be nice. Getting that. All right, so it's going to be a little
All right.
more easier on the eyes than this kind of,
It's
what
gonna
we
be
got going on here.
Too sweet.
It's going to be too sweet, I think. I hope. I don't know. We'll see.
Super kick
Nice.
party. Can't wait.
Super kick party. Looking forward to next week in the new studio setup. Thanks for watching, Michael. Thanks for being part of the show. And definitely every week, 7 o'clock on the dot. And by 7 o'clock on the dot, I mean 7:05. And
Hey,
we will
TBS 705.
Right. 6:05.
Tolly Broadcasting.
I like that.
Well,
Wow. Is it too late to change the name of my company?
I don't know. After that, after that, or before you might.
Man, I'm afraid to even look at the chat. Anyway,
Got a big weekend coming up.
there is
Big
a
wrestling weekend.
coming. There is.
Brooklyn.
Brooklyn coming up first on Saturday.
That's
NXT Takeover 2.
what time is that on? I don't know off the top of
I
my head.
believe.
Probably 8.
Well,
Well,
Probably.
do you think they want to go up against UFC, especially Conor McGregor?
I mean, they are.
Yeah, but that
But-
McGregor
but
match will be
that
like
match is
midnight.
That'll be out way later. But I
Yeah.
mean, if you're gonna order the pay-per-view, you're gonna start watching it when it starts. So that usually starts around what 10? I think they start their pay-per-views.
Yeah, NXT.
Not someone who orders UFC pay-per-views all the time.
NXT
So.
is
Yeah.
2 hours tops.
Yeah,
Anyway.
right. So
8 to 10
It'll be
makes
over.
perfect
So-
sense.
yeah, okay.
Go by 10.
They'll still be going with the preliminary fights. They'll be going up against that. Obviously, I know what I'll be watching. I will be watching Takeover because every year they do a great job. Or every time they have one of these, they're not even pay-per-views, they're special events. Yeah, they're awesome. You saw a match of the year last year at one of these events.
The
At
ladies.
this one, at this takeover,
This very yeah.
Ladies,
Brooklyn.
right.
one
Match of the
not
year.
ladies match of the year, match of the year,
Pro
Hey.
Wrestling Illustrated match of the year.
match of the year.
Yeah.
Right, you saw this last year. So this is must-watch TV.
And who is in that match? Current WWE Women's Champion
That's right.
Sasha Banks, and potentially first ever 2-time NXT Women's Champion Bayley.
Two times, yeah. I didn't realize that.
She'll
Yeah,
be,
she
she'll, be,
wins.
she'll be the only, first and so far only woman to win the
Twice.
NXT Women's title twice,
Right.
which is almost inevitable at this point.
What happened to her? I
That's
thought she
her.
was going to be on Raw all the time now.
That was her one-off
No, I think it was just
Why just
And then
one?
they need her
off
down
then?
there.
because she wasn't drafted yet, and she has business to finish.
Yeah,
Now that there's a draft, you can't do it. Owens did and pull double duty, where fighting Cena and also dropping the NXT title.
nothing wrong with that.
You think she loses and goes up? in
No,
roster after this?
no,
They need to build her up because it's definitely going to be Sasha against Bayley at WrestleMania.
I could almost see Bayley winning and then just dropping it to advance to the main roster and saying, you know what, this is what I wanted to do. Now everybody else can fight for it. Now that it's up for grabs, type of deal.
Who's everybody else? There's not a
And-
lot left down there
and
now.
this is when you can expose the next batch of women.
They really don't have a lot.
There's a
They-
few coming up though.
Mandy
every week
Sachs.
if you watch.
She's
Well, they're
something.
nobody right now, but
Yeah, but they
They'll
all
hold
saw
them
that
up.
nobody. We all thought Nia Jax was nobody, and now we got handsome Nia Jax trending every Monday.
Hey, why you bring that up? I love the fact that they're having women jobbers now too.
It's great. You
Love
have
that.
To you have to have the squashes. They
I-
put it.
I
They did
love
it with
it,
they did it
man.
with
I
Bull
love the
Nakano.
jobbers.
Bull
Yeah.
Nakano used to squash jobbers all the time,
I love the jobbers.
and that made her a title. That made her a contender.
Now we're having women jobbers. It's like we haven't seen that in a long time.
No,
So it's going to be fun. I hope we see some
Welcome.
familiar faces out there. Not that we know a million women wrestlers, but maybe give former guest on Hurricanrana podcast, Helen Vale, a shot.
get squashed by Nia Jax.
Get squashed by Nia. She's tiny.
she would be squashed by
yeah,
Nia
she
Jax.
would. Yeah, but she's great. So give her a chance. That'd be cool. I'd watch that. Obviously, handsome Nia Jax. We gotta get T-shirts made.
Yeah,
Selling on the
With just the eyes.
Hurricanrana
Nia Jax.
store.
yeah, the eyes and the eyeshadow.
I'm surprised they don't have that T-shirt already
No.
made for Nia Jax.
Do after the hype of the CWC that I was speaking before and how great all these matches are, and I know in the past couple of weeks we touched on a couple of instant classics. Does that lead to Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa walking out of NXT Brooklyn,
They have to.
the new NXT champs?
Yeah, I think that they have big plans for them.
It's either that or they're gonna split, and you get a singles run by both of them.
Now, if they're going to bring up someone, if they're going to have a cruiserweight title, and they're going to bring it to Raw, whoever wins that tournament, is the guy who goes heel here or the guy with the split here.
Ciampa would be the heel.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
Right.
No, he looks the heel.
Yeah.
But do you put him at the main roster a little sooner? If they go the split route, assuming that, I'd like to see them get a title run in NXT. I think that they don't need NXT. There's a lot of guys that come along that don't need to be in NXT. Finn Balor, but they put him in there.
Samoa Joe.
Samoa Joe.
I mean, these Kevin Owens.
Kevin Owens.
Sami Zayn.
Sami Zayn.
These are
There's-
guys that
there's a
could have
bunch
just been fast tracked.
But they still do it. So
The way AJ Styles was.
AJ Styles skipped right to
Yeah, like
Royal
it
Rumble.
wasn't even brought up to go to NXT. It was like, no, like we
Yeah, that's
signed
not
you.
part of the deal.
You're showing up. You're showing up to a pay per view, and this is what's happening.
Right. Ciampa, is he a guy that they look at as someone who could go to the top right away? He's had big matches. He's been on TV for a long time. He's done this for a long time. And
We got to remember though.
former Top Rope Promotions
Oh yeah.
world champ.
Yeah. You got to remember though, NXT is kind of thin right now, so they need to build these guys up to be the big stars of NXT before they bring them up to the main roster.
Yeah.
I don't think they have a big influx of NXT guys coming up until after WrestleMania. Again,
Again.
so here's the period now from August to April.
You
Build them up in NXT and then bring them up then.
But you have to have. How do you fill the cruiserweight division if you don't bring anybody up?
Well, a lot of the
cruiserweights.
cruiserweights aren't NXT guys.
Very few of them are actually NXT guys.
So you're gonna be like Grand Metalik. He Metalik, whatever.
Metalik.
He was just signed
I just assume all the
today.
I get they're not NXT guys, but I'm just putting all the guys in this CWC in NXT because they're not on the main roster,
Right.
and they're not signed
But
either.
they're
A lot of them,
Yeah.
right. But okay, so when I say bring guys up, I guess I'm kind of lumping NXT
Yeah, I
and
get what you're
Cruiserweight
saying.
Classic
Yeah.
guys together. Now there are a lot of guys that are signed, getting signed. We know Ciampa and Gargano are signed, so
Right. It's like you see him on WWE program, so we just assume they're on WWE. Yeah.
yes.
And bring them up.
Yeah, it's not like a
But
one.
they're like
one-off
contract workers
situation.
right now. Independent contractors.
It's
There's a bunch of guys that bring up, and they're signing them. Alexander's
Good.
signed.
they
Grand
should.
Metalik.
Grandma Talik, he's another one. I saw
Jack-
that first match. I was like, wow, like this guy, when he dove to the outside of the ring off of the second rope from the inside of the ring and then launched over the ropes where you could easily get tripped up or
Yep.
pull what that Japanese pole vaulter did and, get caught by a wanker.
Yeah.
And he pulls it off, jumping off that second rope.
Oh yeah.
It's like, holy crap, that's incredible. Like, and these are moves this guy makes up.
He's the guy that's going to be replacing Sin Cara. Sin Cara's going to
Yes.
be gone. He's going to be the
You're
next
going to be Grandma Talik, and people are going to love him.
wrestler.
Because these
Yeah,
guys.
all the kids are going to love.
Because these guys, they don't botch.
Right.
These guys, they wrestle with their hearts, not with their scripts.
I still got high hopes for a guy like Kalisto within a
Kalisto's
cruiserweight division as being the next Rey Mysterio guy because he's good.
right. Should be.
He's real good. I think they've kind of got to the end of what they can do with Sin Cara, both of them. So we'll see. But I think a lot of these guys to fill the division are going to have to come up. Let's get into some SummerSlam.
All right. SummerSlam. It's a huge
Some
card.
predictions. There's a lot.
Yeah,
Well,
let's-
it's
yeah.
4 hours.
It is like a 4 match. There's like 4 main events.
This
That could like
it's a good card.
Cena Styles could main event
It's better than
almost
Mania's
any
card.
pay-per-view.
It is
Feel
better
like-
than Mania's card on
This-
paper.
this
We
is
don't know what it's going to come out, but
Right.
not
The
like
card
Mania
is-
this year set the bar high for this year's pay-per-view. So
Yeah.
it could be better. You're right.
Really, like, aside from a women's match, the worst match on paper on this card is Apollo Crews versus The Miz for the Intercontinental title. On paper, that's the worst match of this card. An Intercontinental title match. That's a hell of a card.
You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm working.
So let's just do some predictions real
Yeah,
quick.
let's just
All
do a
right.
rundown here.
This is our go home show to SummerSlam. Let's talk about Carmella, Becky Lynch, and Naomi versus Natalya, Eva Marie, and Alexis Bliss. Who do you got? Does it even matter? It doesn't matter.
No, this match
doesn't matter. Yeah.
This is
This is the
Does
this
Eva
might even
Marie
go on the
wrestle?
pre-show.
Does Eva Marie even wrestle? What happens?
I hope she doesn't wrestle because
Something happens.
you're
when,
right,
no,
something will happen.
when she goes to get tagged in, she'll have to reach for her ankle or
Yeah.
something.
Right, she'll be ringside the whole time.
She'll never
on the
get
apron.
involved in a match or anything. She'll get knocked off by like a teammate on
Right.
the apron and be out for the match. Like,
Yeah.
Or she'll get pinned. Will be the big joke. She
Oh.
gets in for a second.
Or she'll get the pin because somebody will knock Becky Lynch
even
out
better. Yeah,
and she'll
I
get
like
the
that.
pin and win the match. And she'll beat Becky Lynch, and Becky Lynch is going to develop a
And
girl
then she
crush
can
on
go
her.
peacocking around the next night on SmackDown saying she won. at
Her first pay-per-view
SummerSlam.
match, SummerSlam, she got the win for the match,
Yeah.
and that's going to lead to Becky Lynch
All
having a
right,
crush
so
on her.
maybe it does matter.
Remember where you heard it.
Cesaro versus Sheamus. This is the first of a best of seven
This
series.
is the third match, though. Why couldn't they just count
Start
the
it.
other two?
They really want to do a best of 10.
yeah. It's
I don't even know the format of this. It's almost like they just made it up without really thinking about it.
They'll figure it out in a few weeks.
Yeah.
who
I
did
don't-
this years ago? Was it Benoit and Booker T? Right for a belt?
Yeah, that's right.
The big gold.
Booker T and
No, it was
Benoit, right?
Oh,
It
Booker
wasn't.
T in Austin?
Was it for like the U.S. title or something? Man, if you're listening, let us know. Definitely put it in the chat. It's been so long. I'm sorry that I dropped this, but that was a good
Hey.
series. Whatever that was, whatever that was. Yeah, I can't even remember now.
But again, we talked about this last week. What is it leading to? What the hell is the whole point of a
we're
best
gonna
of
go.
seven?
So does this mean, since they're not gonna do one on Raw and SmackDown because it's split, are we going to see this
6
match
weeks?
every week?
Until Survivor Series.
Until,
Oh,
right.
so what if it's in October?
7 weeks from now?
Until
You know?
No Mercy.
Right.
Which they just announced.
Are they going to
as,
drag it out that
October
long?
pay-per-view.
I mean, for what? Why? I don't. You know what? This match to me.
This match doesn't interest me. Let me know when it's match 7.
Well, I want Sheamus to win because he's lost the last 2. So get a win here.
I want Cesaro to win just because
you like Cesaro more
it's
than
Sheamus he's going against. Garbage.
I thought that was going to be a pre-show match too. They may be pre-show matches.
They may be, yeah.
Even though it's a 4-hour pay-per-view though, going from 7 to 11.
Well, they're going to want to add
And
an
then the
hour on each
pre-shows-
end of that. They don't want you watching 4 hours. They
Pre-show
want you
starts at
watching
5.
7 hours of wrestling in one night, and then watching Monday, and then Tuesday, and then
And Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Again. Classic and NXT.
Right. It's so much wrestling, Vince, stop.
All right.
All right,
Miz, Apollo Crews.
We mentioned the IC title match. I do like. I like seeing Apollo Crews here, against the Miz for the IC title. I just think it's fresh to have him. I don't hate Apollo Crews at all. I actually think he's pretty entertaining, and I
Probably needs a belt. To
I wouldn't
help him
mind.
out.
I wouldn't mind seeing him win the Intercontinental title here. I'll be rooting for him, and I used to like the Miz. I'll probably be wearing a Miz T-shirt, one of these wrestler shirt Wednesdays. But it's. I don't think it's going to be that bad. I don't think that's going to be the worst match on the card.
I look at it as if you replace Apollo Crews with, who I'm thinking of, the same guy who he just replaced on the roster, basically.
Titus O'Neil.
No, the guy with the broken ankle.
Yeah.
Crap. I don't know.
No,
what
the
you're
English
talking
guy, Neville.
Oh
Neville.
yeah.
Yeah.
If this was Neville versus the Miz for the title,
Same match.
it'd be the same match,
Right.
and
It should be Neville's title shot, actually.
Neville got hurt. They brought up Crews,
Right.
and they're almost the same wrestler.
Right, and Neville
They're
was going to
jacked,
get that push.
undersized
at
guys
Mania
who are
in the-
very athletic and do the flips.
in the ladder match.
That was Neville's spot.
Yeah.
Now he has
Well-
to work his way up again. Apparently,
Yeah, now it's
I
they're
want
running
Miz.
with Crews.
I want Miz to keep the title. I
I-
like the whole dynamic of him having the belt and being.
It's
It's
like,
fun with him and Maurice.
Him without
Yeah.
it doesn't fit. Like him without it, he would come across as whiny most
right.
likely.
Mhm.
At least he
Him-
gets to say he's the champ right now.
Yes,
And I like
it's- Yeah, it's a good.
So I want him to keep it. Keep the Miz show running for longer than anybody really wants.
because he helped put over Jericho.
Yeah, that
helped
was
put over
big.
the Orton thing. Like the Miz is a nice little launching pad for those going from B
And
plus to A.
I want him around because I want Maurice around.
Well, all right.
Yeah.
I'm in.
Oh, yeah.
Miz. No, I'm kidding. I want Apollo Crews to win because
It would help him.
it would help him. Give him the title.
And he needs it.
See what he can do.
Or he's just
That's who
gonna
I'm
be
going to be
blocked.
rooting
But
for.
is he ready for the IC title?
No.
That-
No.
Yeah, but what's the IC title, really?
last
Yeah.
time, well, you keep giving it to guys like Apollo Crews. It's nothing.
I think you keep it on somebody long like Miz, then it actually becomes something.
I'm more of a I'd rather root for the Miz, who I'm not a huge fan of, but who's been doing a great job lately.
Former main eventer.
And then when
of
someone
WrestleMania.
actually beats him, it's a big deal that they won the title.
Yes. And let it be clean, all that
Yeah.
good stuff. Because this is the guy who WrestleMania 27 walked in with the belt, beat John Cena, walked out with the belt.
Correct.
I mean, like love him or hate him, facts don't lie unless you're Chris Benoit. That happened. You can't take it away from him.
You mentioned Jericho.
Yep.
That's hard to say. Not to-
Jericho.
it's
Yeah.
that's kind of a clever name, and
Yeah.
I'm glad they came up with that.
Much
Going
better
against Enzo and Cass, that should be a fun match. I think Jericho has been one of the best things on TV. It's fun. They work well together. They got the chemistry to being Canadian, and they both got great mic skills.
Canadian bacon.
The
As they were
Canadian
called.
bacon. And then of course everyone knows. I think everyone loves. Enzo and
Enzo.
Cass. They're entertaining. They can go in the ring, and I think this is going to be one of those match of the night candidates. If they get the right timing, which they probably won't.
I see it as an opening match.
I see this as one of those matches where it's going to be one of the more entertaining ones of the card. And I've said that since they booked it. Just because all four guys,
Not all
Yeah.
four.
3 out of the 4 guys can talk on the mic. They got tons of charisma. And then Big Cass,
He talks.
he talks. He talks. I like it. I think this should
Slow
be
motion.
I think there'll probably be like a great back and forth before the match.
Oh yeah.
And then
That's why I think it's going to open the show.
maybe even after the match. I think it'll be very entertaining. From the time their music hits to the time they cut to commercial or whatever. it's going to be fantastic.
Little aside here. What do you think of Jericho's new facial hair? I think it's pretty cool.
I think it fits his character perfectly. Like,
Especially
gonna
with
go
the
with it.
scarf.
yes,
I'm gonna go with it.
I
Next
like
week.
it.
You
I'm
gonna
a
do
fan.
No, I'm not gonna go with it. Or the scarf. It's not Wrestling Scarf Wednesday. It's Wrestling Shirt Wednesday.
That's right.
It'll fit.
All right, so what's your predictions on that?
I'm gonna go with Enzo and Cass because I think there's big things coming up. for
Cass
him soon.
pins Jericho for the win.
Yeah,
Yeah, Enzo and Cass.
Jericho loses.
Like
yeah,
that. Yep.
right. I think they're probably going to be the next people with the title shot. So I hope. And I think it's time to get them involved in the title picture. I don't know how long you can keep it on, the New Day. It's been a year. This will make a year.
Yep.
I love them, but it's time
It'll
to
be a
switch.
year on Raw.
They're setting
make it
up
past
them
Raw.
dropping the belts with Big E being out.
Yeah.
With Big E being hurt and all that. That sets up them dropping the belts.
Yep.
And they don't look terribly weak doing it because they're not full strength.
So we're right into the next match where we get, the New Day minus Big E, we think, right? He's
Yeah.
not going to be around.
Right. Xavier
Against
Woods and Kofi
Gallows and
is
Anderson.
being advertised as defending.
And that's an easy way for them to kind of lose, like you said. So
It's a mismatch as it is right now.
So I think we can all go with Gallows and Anderson here.
Yep.
At least I will.
And they need a title reign, I think.
I think they'd be good as the tag team champions
And that does set up Enzo and Cass being faces feuding with
Against them.
for the
the
title.
club who they've already had they've already ran into in the past.
And that'll
And-
be fun too.
And they've started to establish the club as somebody that can be on the mic and go back and forth with people like Enzo and Cass.
Yeah, for sure.
So it'll be a good feud there.
Damn, we just ruined the next 4 months of tag team wrestling for everybody who's listening. Because that's exactly what's going to happen.
Yep.
Yeah, that's exactly what's going to
Yep.
That's not even like, this is what we want to happen. We say a lot of stuff on here that, we think. No, that's pretty much a guarantee.
That's not a prediction.
Yeah.
That's a spoiler.
Right. Yeah. So, yeah, that's a wrap there.
Yeah, don't have to go any further into that.
I know the next match we're about to talk about is one of Eric's favorites to be match of the night.
It could be.
I
Could
think
be.
I expect this match to disappoint, and I
Yeah.
expect Charlotte to get the belt back.
All right,
That's
so we're
my-
talking about Sasha Banks against Charlotte for the women's title.
That's my 2 cents on that match.
Right.
To get into it quick, it's going to disappoint. This match in particular is going to disappoint because we're going to have too high of an expectation of it based on
My expectations are through the roof.
NXT Brooklyn last year and what these girls are capable of. The fact that it's an actual pay-per-view title match, it's a rematch, all that good stuff. I expect it to fall short of expectations, and Charlotte gets the belt back.
Such a short reign for Sasha, though. And they built her up to be the person to, be the champ. We waited for it. I don't think they should have done it on Raw.
I think it was a test.
I like that they did it, but because I got to see it, I didn't want to wait any longer. I want what I want when I want it.
Yep.
But I would hate to see her lose the belt right away because I think she's awesome. I think she's the best thing going in women's wrestling right now. I think the crowd's really hot on her. I think she looks good with the belt. I think she's doing a good job as champion, and I think she's I think she's the right fit for it. Charlotte had it for a while, and I'm not taking anything away from her because she's a great heel woman. She's a great heel woman wrestler.
Oh, yeah.
But
She's been doing a great job.
she's been doing a fantastic job getting heat. And even after her father left her side,
It helped her out.
I think it made her better.
Yeah.
And I'm a Ric Flair guy. How many guys have I said that I'm a guy of on the show so far?
Well, you usually say Ric Flair, so I think you get credit.
Okay. I do have his tattoo.
I can see it. I can see it right from here.
Yeah. So
It's actually
all right.
popping.
So I'm a Ric Flair guy, and I think that she got better after he left. And I think that if she does get the title back, I think it's going to be too soon. You should save something like this for one of the Raw exclusive pay-per-views, maybe, and have them go back and forth for a little while. But then, really, what else is there? What else is there for them?
Nothing.
I don't want to see it yet. I'm going to go with Sasha Banks on this one.
Sasha Banks.
I hope I'm wrong, but I expect Charlotte to get it back. I just feel like Big Vince doesn't think that Sasha might be ready.
Maybe not.
That's
He'd be wrong. He'd be wrong.
He is sometimes.
Well, you got a good point there, and I think it has to do with
That's the buzz I've been
How-
hearing.
if Sasha keeps it, we know that it's Bayley against Sasha at WrestleMania, and she would have to hang on to that title all that time. So it does make sense for Charlotte to get it back, and then Sasha to beat her again a few months down the road, and then have it going into Mania. So
Shout out to
maybe
Sam
that
for
does
listening.
happen.
Thank you very much. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you
Oh,
off.
no
I thought you were
problem.
done.
Who's
But
Sam?
Sam is, kind of a extended family member of mine. He's my nephew's cousin. I don't know how that works. But Sam, thanks for listening.
If he's your nephew's cousin,
Wait,
he's my nephew's cousin.
Sam is my nephew. It's definitely my nephew. Then it's his aunt. So it's his cousin.
Sam,
yeah.
help
They're
him
cousins.
out.
They're
Sam,
cousins.
Sam,
yeah,
help us out here.
It's my nephew's cousin.
How do you know this guy?
So Sam, I just couldn't. There's a huge age gap there. So Sam's closer to our age, and my nephew's still shitting in his diaper. So it's it's hard to remember they're on the same generation. But Sam, thanks a lot for listening and being part of the show. This next match, Rusev versus Roman Reigns. Nope. I want to say something. I'm happy that this is happening. I think it's a great spot for Roman Reigns. I'm excited to see him in this because I was sick of seeing him everywhere else.
In the main event.
The main event.
Yes.
I'm glad he's here. This is where he should have been all along. And, it's definitely...
Now, the match was great on Raw.
Yeah.
I thought it was great. But they gave it to us early. Hopefully they can replicate it or even make it better.
That wasn't a title match. That was for Lana's honor.
Right. And in this case, I think Rusev takes it. Rusev wins this match. He just lost in a non-title match. He's going to win and be clear winner. And I think a lot of this has to do with the Roman Reigns backlash that the fans have had, and WWE smartening up to notice that and also punishing him because of his wellness policy, infliction or whatever he had there. So I think, they're booking him mid-card, and they're going to have him lose, I think. That's my prediction, is that Rusev. Now, another thing on top of that is Roman Reigns is supposed to be looking like he's this face, but he's coming off as like the biggest douchebag right now.
He is.
Interrupting,
right?
Weddings. Like, dude, it's not cool. What do you think this is? Like Wedding Crashers? Like you just show up, you're the cool dude. Hey, man, I'm going to ruin this party. It's like, you're a jerk. They just got married, and I feel bad for Rusev and Lana.
You know this is wrestling, right?
What's that?
You know this is wrestling, right? Hey, there's never a wedding that just goes out.
I
know. Ever.
It's
okay.
It's like contract signings. They never go well.
They never go well.
Yeah.
Even when they say this is going to be different than the other ones, someone still goes through the table.
Yep.
Rusev has been a great U.S. champion. I think because he's not a U.S.
US
character,
yeah. Right.
and then I think he's been great. I love Lana. I love seeing her on TV. I do think that they probably think that they've punished Roman Reigns enough, and if they pull the trigger on this,
don't give him a title.
SummerSlam, I think they do it. I think they do it. Yeah, for sure. It takes him off. I think I'm going to go with Roman Reigns just because how far down our throats he's been shoved. Now they're doing this, and they're saying, "Well, he's not in the main event anymore.
Right.
You guys didn't want him in the main event. He's not in the main event anymore. Well, but here's Roman Reigns. I think they're going to go with him. I do. I just think they still love them. They still love him, and they're probably disappointed that it didn't work out. But they think that they can get away with this. They're at least going to try it. Here's the chance. Because what do you do? I mean, do you finish this feud and not ever have him give the? Then what does he do? I think he wins the belt here.
All right.
I mean. I don't want it to. I really like Rusev.
That's a good view. Rob, what'd you?
I like that you have Rusev winning for your reasons. I can see Reigns winning here. Rusev's been champ for a little while now. Without the belt, Rusev tends to fall into anonymity a bit, where I don't know if I said the word right.
Sounds right.
Yeah, right. That's looks good on TV.
No one's listening anyway.
When he doesn't have the belt, he falls into purgatory, where it's like he falls into League of Nations, where none of those guys are even here anymore.
Roman Reigns doesn't need a belt.
Roman Reigns is Roman Reigns. Whether he has a belt or not, he has the belt, you like him less because you know it was given to him.
Right.
It's a silver spoon. It's not a belt.
Right.
Yeah.
And which, you know what? That discredits Reigns for the stuff he does do. It's like, yeah, but you're only doing it because, you're given that spot to do it in, and anybody else will be doing it too. I want Rusev to win here. Let Reigns move on because these guys have a past. These guys have done this before already. This isn't their first go-round. This time it's just for the U.S. belt. But when he didn't have it, they were fighting each other all the time anyway. It's almost like the NXT match that never happened between these two guys. And
Alexander Rusev.
Yeah, and it's just it's happening. Let Rusev win, move that on. Something new.
In the in the match that is the end of the best of 21 series between AJ Styles and John Cena. Probably the match on the card. And I know both
It'll
these
be
guys
good.
can go. I get that they'll put on a good match. Just enough with these two already. I'm over it. It's been going on for way too long.
You know what I want this match to lead to? And
Don't say another match.
it is going to be one more match. And I'm like laughing at myself for thinking they'll go here with it, but they can with everyone they have in NXT. But do they do like a Survivor Series match where it's like Team Cena and WWE against AJ Styles, and then he just happens to have all these TNA guys?
Bobby Roode.
Samoa Joe.
All be TNA guys without calling them TNA guys.
No, you can't call them TNA guys.
But does that lead to a? Because he's not with a club.
So, you know, Survivor Series is a long ways away, right?
But
so we got to deal with this. Come on, man.
I mean, beat up John Cena.
months, yeah,
we have
3
to
months
see a
away.
lot of beat up John Cena.
But that's over. The club split.
Yeah, because AJ Styles, he has his own new T-shirt now. He's not wearing stuff that says club anymore. Almost like they're just letting Balor take that when he's ready.
T-shirts
Are we
been
supposed to
made
forget
for
about
months.
Are we supposed to forget about the club for when Balor takes it over? Are
And
we
the
supposed
Balor
to-
Club.
Yeah, are we supposed to forget about that? I can see an AJ Styles Survivor Series say, "Oh yeah, no, me and my guys from around the world."
Don't
Take
stretch
on-
this all the way to Survivor Series. Even though that would be awesome. That's a great
Even
concept.
if you kill it and bring it back, but
They can do that.
I'll take that as a culmination. Let it go there.
Okay.
I think AJ Styles wins this match clean. I think it's a good way to push him over.
He needs
Yeah.
it more.
He definitely needs it more. You don't need John Cena just to get another win.
John Cena just said, just last night that he's ready for someone to come in and take a spot. Now, it's not going to be AJ because he's already old and they never make a TNA guy, the guy. But, I think he's ready to start losing clean. And
That's why he's trying to push Big Cass as the next big guy.
Ugh.
Uh,
I'm an end zone.
I don't
Cass
care
guy,
who
but
wins
I'm
that
not
match.
I'm just trying to push my
I'm not
dib.
really
That's
a
all.
Cass guy.
I don't really care who wins this match. Just make it over after this, please. I'm over it. Dean Ambrose and Dolph Ziggler. Now, we've already touched on this last week and the week before about who we thought was going to win. I selected Dolph Ziggler
I said Dean Ambrose.
because I want Dolph Ziggler to be that guy that they kind of push as the, I hope he goes heel, and I hope he, finally gets a good run with the belt, and finally a run that you can actually, when you think of Dolph Ziggler, you don't think of former champion. You really don't, because he didn't really do anything with it. It doesn't stick out to you. And to me anyway, you don't think of former world champion. You don't, because
Well, there were 2 titles at the time also when he had it.
there's 2 titles. It was the big gold, and they really didn't let him do anything with it. You think of Dolph Ziggler, you think of the guy who puts everybody he's in the ring with over. So I'd like to see him get a good. I think he's earned it. I'd love to see him get a good run here. So I'm still going to stick with Dolph Ziggler, even though I really think that Dean Ambrose has done a fantastic job as champion. And I was wrong there because I was the guy, and I'll openly admit it. I said out of the Shield, he would be the worst one, and I was wrong. There it is. I was wrong.
See how peaceful we let that one go?
Yeah.
I'm sticking with Dean Ambrose.
I wasn't here last week, but I'm Ambrose has to win this match.
And part of it has to do with my prediction for the other match, which I've already said was going to be Finn Balor. You can't change both titles in the same night. Right?
Why
That's-
not?
I mean,
Why not?
that's my view.
It's a new era.
They usually,
It is a new era.
They usually don't, but yeah, it's a new era.
This is the first pay-per-view with a second title now, so
Yeah.
Well,
And one of them
this
isn't
second
changing.
title.
Someone's just being awarded it for the first time. So
Yeah,
No,
but Seth
if
Rollins was
Rollins
just a
doesn't win,
champion.
he loses the belt. Like this
Yeah,
is Seth Rollins' title to lose.
Yeah, it does feel that way. We'll
glad
get into
you-
that match last.
I've been adjusting my
Right,
shorts
he
all
didn't even
episode.
have he didn't have a match to get in that match. It's as if he's the presumptive champion already,
Right.
and he's
Yeah.
defending.
Yeah.
Number 1 pick, mine's and theirs.
Brock Lesnar, Randy Orton, something that's been booked for a while.
They're hyping it well. I'm excited.
Yeah,
It's not something I thought I would be excited about. Again, I was wrong. Yeah, let's see this match. What's going to happen in this match? I hope Brock Lesnar wins. I don't say that a lot,
Yeah?
but it's against Randy Orton. Yeah, but because what? You need to put over Randy Orton? Like for what?
yeah.
He hasn't been around for a while.
He only failed 2 wellness
Well,
suspensions.
Randy Orton's going to be around
Suspensions.
as the face of SmackDown for a while, and Brock Lesnar's not going to be around. So you need Randy Orton to be like that. I just defeated the Beast.
The Legend Killer.
Ugh.
You know,
Ugh.
I'm going Randy Orton for those reasons, and I'm on the Randy Orton train right now because I like what he's doing. So
One-way
I
ticket
wanna
to
support him.
Viperville.
And Brock Lesnar, I don't know how happy they are with what he does with the whole UFC thing. It's kind of like he put them in a corner.
I think I
And
don't
they're like,
think he did.
Yeah, you're gonna lose at SummerSlam.
Well, I think they're probably pissed off that he failed
That too.
and went public. But I think that in the end it gains them, an opportunity to get a Conor McGregor or a Ronda Rousey payday. Where they if they do it at WrestleMania and they can get one or two of those two and Brock Lesnar, think of that. That's 3 people that are huge draws from another cross promotion. If you can get those 3 guys on WrestleMania, you're going to sell a lot of
And
UFC
keep in mind,
viewers.
with UFC going public and was that multi-billion-dollar sale they went through, the fact that UFC stars are going to be bigger stars come WrestleMania because now
Right.
they're making more money.
Yep.
They're getting advertised more. They're getting promoted more. They're more household names. It's almost like it's like buying in early for WWE. It's like an investment, using Lesnar as, like you said, as a pawn to you. As soon as they announced the Lesnar to UFC thing, first thing through everybody's mind was, here comes Rousey for either SummerSlam or Mania. We're getting Ronda Rousey.
Yep.
Like that's the first thing. And now you're not hearing a lot of Ronda Rousey talk and fight at UFC much these days.
Well, now you're hearing Conor McGregor. We talked about it last week. Now he's calling out John Cena, saying he's a fat grandma.
Yeah. Meanwhile, he weighs like $150 on a after Thanksgiving.
He's a bad man.
Oh, he is. I mean, I would have stepped to him in the street, and I weigh over 200 pounds. But
All right.
I'm not a trained fighter.
Well, we're doing SummerSlam predictions. While we're at it,
Yeah.
we got this weekend, Saturday,
Me versus Conor McGregor.
Conor McGregor versus Nate Diaz. Who you got?
Nate
Diaz.
Diaz.
I'm going to go with McGregor.
Just
I think he's trained better for this fight.
only
I
because
think he's a better fighter.
I was ready to put money on
Diaz is a beast.
in Vegas, and I didn't do it.
This is going to be a second fighting at this weight, and he's going to be ready this time. He's put a lot into this. He got embarrassed last
He
time.
was ready last time.
No, he wasn't. I think he was doing too much. He was too cocky. That's why he didn't want to go and do all the promo stuff. That's why he missed UFC 200 for this fight. And I think his head's in the game this time. I'm going to go with Conor McGregor. There you go. We just crossed over to UFC for a little bit. And gave you a little
UFC
of that.
and TNA in the same night.
And let's talk, finally about Finn Balor and Seth Rollins. I'm going to stick with Finn 2 weeks in a row.
This is Finn, week 3 for me. Going with Finn. That title is made for Finn. He's the Universal Champion, tailor-made for the new era, and that's him.
Well, so Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins is still
He's still
the next guy.
relevant.
Seth Rollins is the man, and
He's the
that's why
man.
he's my pick to walk
You
out of
don't
this as a
bring
champion.
in Finn Balor and have him lose at his first pay-per-view.
Oh, yeah?
Nope,
I
not losing. Not
All
with
right.
this whole
All right.
demon thing going on.
I'm not going to I'm
He's
not going
winning.
to try to talk you out of it. I want him to win too.
It would be a shame. You just come up and then lose.
We'll see.
Now, what is it? The whole, he's got to chase the title?
I'm
because
looking
he's a
forward to
face?
this match. I'm looking forward to the
He-
match.
He can't
Seth
lose as
Rollins
the
is
demon.
making a bigger deal about the title than Finn Balor is. Finn Balor is making the most of his opportunity, where Seth Rollins is crazed with the belt.
Yeah.
It's Rollins is going to win the belt. Balor can move on to bigger things overall and not need this belt right away.
Yeah. Okay.
And he can still look strong and not winning it because it's his first match, because he just got called up, because Seth Rollins is
Seth
big.
Rollins.
He's bigger. They're very similar wrestlers. He is bigger, so it'd be more believable if he gets him like on a small cradle and puts his weight down on him at the end after a 30-minute match. Seth Rollins wins this match. I'm pretty confident.
On this topic, I'm a huge 2K fan of the video games, and I saw a trailer for him in that god-awful chainsaw entrance that, like, he did.
Oh, yeah.
When did he do that?
The
I
last
hated
at the
that.
WrestleMania NXT show.
I hated
Wonderful
that.
Mania.
I hope that's not his only entrance in 2K17.
I didn't like his entrance coming out on Raw.
Oh,
Where he's like,
it felt
all
so flat.
swirly, and he's like, if you can see him on camera, he's just like, he's like the boogeyman. He's coming out of the ring like the boogeyman.
Yeah, he really was.
It's
His
always been
arms
very
swell.
boogeyman-like.
I know he's
though.
Irish. We're gonna start calling him Marty.
What's funny though is, the difference is on NXT, it's a short walk from
Yes.
backstage.
It's
to the ring.
catered to the NXT.
This is long, and then at SummerSlam, it's gonna be even longer. I don't know if he's gonna be able to
Where
crawl.
is
all that-
SummerSlam? Brooklyn?
It should be the Barclays Center, right?
Yeah,
Or
I
is
it's
think
the
so.
Barclays.
Yeah.
It's same size as most of the other arenas. Maybe it holds 20.
I used to love how they used to do the shows at Madison Square Garden with the really short ramp.
Yeah.
I'd like to
Right
see
on
that
the
come
side.
back. I'd like to see that come back. I like that. I like that a lot. But it's kind of hard now with the announced team up there. So, all right,
Now,
SummerSlam.
one glaring thing that's missing from SummerSlam,
Mhm.
and this person's been being built up a lot lately, is Bray Wyatt. He's going to have a role at SummerSlam, right? And is that role going to be in that Ambrose Ziggler match? Because that's who he's dealing with right now.
It might be.
So I wonder if he costs Ziggler the title. I don't know. But he's got to be in there somewhere, right?
Yeah, I can see him
thoughts on it?
costing Ziggler a match because that will set up another thing that we've been seeing still again, and that's going to be a Shield member versus a Wyatt member with Ambrose versus Bray. This time he'll finally be for the belt, as we haven't been seeing. Like we didn't see Erik Rowan against, Seth Rollins on Raw. On Raw, we're seeing Shield guy versus Wyatt guys on a regular basis.
Mhm.
It's not going to end anytime soon. I could see
So
Bray
definitely
Wyatt.
some role.
He can't not be at this pay-per-view.
Right.
I mean, he's healthy. There's no reason for
Right,
him not to be.
you got
there.
11 matches on his card, and Bray Wyatt's not involved in anything, even though he's big on SmackDown right
But
now.
look, this is the first big pay-per-view since the split, and what was it 11 matches we're looking at right now?
Yeah.
And it's a
That's a lot.
pretty full card. And there's a lot of guys who don't have matches. Del Rio, Paige, for getting
Well,
suspended.
I mean-
Bray Wyatt, but these are all
Neville.
pretty big names who.
Do we
ended
get
the
a
card.
primetime players match in the pre-show? Maybe just
I hope
thrown
so.
in there.
Probably.
Yeah.
Do they get thrown in again? I mean, who
It could be 12,
Luchas.
13 matches. Who knows?
Yeah.
Right now we're looking at 11.
There's a 2-hour pre-show from 5 to 7, and then
It's
there's
a
a
lot.
4-hour pay-per-view. 7.
The Dudleys will
11.
fight against Shining Stars or something.
Yeah, they'll put them over this week.
Whatever. Cool. Awesome. I'm looking forward to SummerSlam. I'm going to say that. Let's get into Wrestling Shirt Wednesday. I had a lot of, our Instagram's been taking off lately. And I posted my shirt early because
Oh, nice.
I had a lot going on today, so I had to get dressed for the show early. So I was out and about all day. So I had my shirt on. And I said, let's see if I can get some little love for the show coming up, a little promo, try to get people to respond. And here's my thing now. Every Wednesday, if you, wearing a shirt, Wrestling Shirt Wednesday.
That was a word.
Yeah, it wasn't. But tag us in it. Tag us in on Instagram, on Twitter. Take a picture of it, and we will talk about your shirt while we're talking about our shirts at the end of the show.
Yeah.
Why
Because
not?
there are awesome shirts out there. We don't own all the cool shirts. We have
Right.
a lot of them, but we don't collectively own all
Right.
the cool shirts. There
I
are
wanna
cool
see the
shirts
other
out
ones
there.
out
Now that you mentioned that, Rob, we got our first repeat.
Yeah.
We do.
We
I
got
got a
our
repeat.
first repeat. I'm a little. I was waiting to see who it was going to be.
It's a repeat for the camera.
He hasn't worn it on live.
Yeah.
It is a cool shirt.
And he didn't have a picture of it, so I figured I'll show it out there.
Okay, so what are you wearing?
I'm wearing a Primetime Wrestling.
I love the shirt,
Yeah, I
but it
just-
won last time, and
I don't know what
I
camera.
think it's
Wow, this
disqualified
camera.
this week.
Yeah, it can't win. Now,
It's-
part of it is in my closet. I have a bunch of. I was talking to Rob about this earlier. Bunch of extra large and extra large T-shirts that I just can't wear anymore, and they're good ones. So if I came in here, it would look like I'm wearing a nightie.
No, yeah, it's Wrestling Shirt Wednesday, not Wrestling Moo Wednesday.
Right, exactly. So I got to stick with the large size
Wrestling
shirts for
Skirt
now.
Wednesday.
And I get new ones every month because I'm part of the Pro Wrestling Tees fan club thing. So, yes, this is a repeat, and I'll have new shirts coming soon.
It's because it matches his socks hat, and that's okay.
Yeah, that's part of the reason.
Listen, it's disqualified from winning this week. All right,
okay,
you can't be the first person to.
But Primetime
Well,
Wrestling.
Listen, it's a
Who-
great shirt, but
but-
it won.
well-
Plus, it already won.
Speaking of primetime
and
wrestling,
it's like Primetime Players shirt.
somebody it is somebody that helped be huge for primetime wrestling. No joke. We're both also supporting.
We got a double.
Well,
we got a double
actually-
Hulk Hogan theme going on this week.
Actually, if you think back to the way that wrestling used to be, somebody like Hulk Hogan, never on Primetime Wrestling, never on
Yeah.
Superstar.
Oh yeah, you know,
never on
I just-
Challenge.
I just confused that with Saturday night's main event.
it would never be on a regular show.
Yeah, that's right. Primetime wrestling, he was definitely never on
Right.
because he was above that,
You're right.
like our shirts.
Exactly. So talk about your Hulk
What are you
Hogan
wearing?
shirts.
I'm wearing, like I was telling Mike before the show, in support of also the Olympics, my old school American-made foam finger Hulkamania shirt.
You gotta
For the
show the
cameras?
camera. I think you're on the
I
other
think
camera.
It's
right
that
now.
camera. Yep.
Anybody can see, and you can't see. Well, rewind and watch.
We're gonna put it on our Instagram page, so definitely go on there.
Yeah,
Check
see
it out
when we
if you're
take
listening
a-
at home
a
on the
group
podcast.
Photo when we post up my American-made Hulkamania. Yeah, just a little something.
Yeah, I like the
Feel
American
festive.
made.
Yeah, it's a little. It's different. It's not like the Hulkamania T-shirt I was wearing
Right.
yesterday that I just realized now I was wearing
American
yesterday
made
at the
was
same
his
bar.
slogan before
He was Hulkamania.
Well, he wore
Hulkamania,
just the generic shirt with American made across it.
Yeah.
He had white tights, or blue tights.
Yes.
Yeah.
Back when he was Thunderlips.
I am wearing, a little ode to Rocky 3. Thunderlips, his character, Hulk Hogan's character in Rocky 3 is the Thunderlips. He's got the cape going. He's got it open. It says Thunderlips across it. It's
You know what I love about it? It's like the Batman 1960s logo.
It
like,
is.
like my CM Punk shirt I wore a few weeks
well,
ago.
I have two other ones. I have a Macho Man
And a
one,
Ric
and I
Flair.
have a Ric Flair one
Yep.
Same
with
style.
the same
Woo!
style. Yeah.
Right across there, right? I know
This
that
is blue,
shirt.
and the other one says, "Oh yeah."
Oh, yeah.
I shouldn't have spoiled it because I'm probably going to be wearing them for Wrestling Shirt Wednesday soon. But yeah. So this is my Thunderlip shirt,
Sweet.
and I posted this earlier on Instagram. Got a lot of love. So the guys at the Wrestling Podcast About Nothing said that they love the shirt. So I want to shout those guys out because they share our stuff all the time.
Yeah.
And
Great.
I listen.
great.
I've been listening to that show every week. For the
I was actually asked by one of our listeners for a podcast to listen to that wasn't just ours, and
Re-
that's the one I
Wrestling
recommended to him.
Podcast. Yeah,
And
me
actually,
too.
he contributed to the show tonight,
Nice.
Michael McBride.
Yes.
So shout out
Sweet.
twice to Mike
Yes.
Mike.
for being a good listener.
Definitely. Brian Malonis, the Kingpin. He is, he hosts that show. Good friend of the shows. I see him at all the local wrestling events. He does a great time. So if you are listening to other shows, I definitely recommend that one. And they will recommend this one as well. He's always giving us great feedback. So
Wrestling podcast about nothing.
the Wrestling Podcast About Nothing. It's on iTunes. It's above us in the search if you look up Wrestling Podcast. So listeners, if you could, give us a little boost, that'd be cool.
What's up?
You guys,
Baby.
yeah, because we're not going to stand up to Maloners. You guys have to.
yeah. Go see Prue.
Yeah. He does the. It was all on the sheet. It was all Prue.
How you doing?
All right. So that's Wrestling Shirt Wednesday. Again,
We're not even going to go to vote. Eric, you win.
Yeah.
Thunderlips
Eric wins.
Thunderlips wins.
Thunder-
Not just because it's Thunderlips, but because you've been supporting it all day, doing the work, putting the work in with
Putting
it.
the work for it. Okay, I'll take the
because
win.
with the overtime, you get the win.
I'll take the win. All right. Yes, I've won a few of these, by the way. I got some nice wrestling.
I
shirts.
give you the win based on your T-shirt.
I was. I was first to the party with that whole Top Rope Tuesday thing too. So I was the first one.
Yeah.
I had a couple shirts before I even told you guys the website.
Yeah, you did.
I did.
Yeah.
I was showing him. You kept saying, "Where do you get those?"
Mr. X kept talking
None of
about
your
getting
business.
T-shirts from the site, but put
Right.
his money where his mouth was.
Right. Awesome. Let's get into a little bit of a count out.
All right, let's start the count out this week. And I kind of want to do this, ongoing. Raw versus SmackDown. Who won this week? Was it Raw or was it SmackDown?
SmackDown.
I think it was Raw. I do. I think Raw did a good job. It
I don't think
kept me interested.
I don't think SmackDown won. I think Raw lost.
Do you?
Yeah, definitely Raw lost. It was disappointing, and by the time SmackDown came along, I was like, "This show, I'm more excited to watch this."
And I'll say it now. SmackDown being 2 hours helps
Yes,
because they
much
get
more
to
enjoyable.
concentrate more. You get less time to
I
change
get
the
it.
channel and watch
I
the Red
love
Sox.
2 hour show.
It really makes a
Raw
big
should go
difference.
back.
And
Raw
Raw,
should go back.
when they hype themselves all for 3 hours for something, and that third hour falls flat,
Yeah.
like he does with the Demon King. Oh, that was a 10 o'clock spot actually.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And it still fell flat.
Yeah.
It kind of puts a bad taste in your mouth for the rest of that night. Where SmackDown, it's like worst case they fart at 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
Oh well, I'll watch CWC on Wednesday and I'll forget all about it.
All right, next topic is this weekend. We talked a lot about it today. NXT and SummerSlam, NXT Takeover. And a lot of times NXT Takeover is the thing that you look forward to. Like at WrestleMania, NXT was more exciting than WrestleMania. Now, what do we have here this month with NXT and SummerSlam? What are you guys more excited about, the NXT Takeover or actually SummerSlam?
Not to take anything away from Takeover, but I'm definitely excited about the SummerSlam card. The talent's just not there anymore in NXT right now. And I know that sounds, maybe sacrilegious, but you're looking at matches. We're looking at guys like Andrade or whatever they want to call them, and
Many Andrade.
many
Andrade.
and even like I'm not a Nakamura guy, and then time to put Joe on the main roster. So there's probably gonna be some great wrestling, but I just don't. This SummerSlam card is packed.
Yeah,
It's just packed.
I think NXT's getting almost too much love this year because of last year's show.
Yeah.
The card is still looking nice, just not as nice as it could be.
I
I mean, and because SummerSlam does have on paper a pretty loaded card.
right.
So I mean, it's a tough card to compete with.
Yeah, so SummerSlam, for me, that's what I'm
But you know
most
what?
excited about. NXT is like in a transition phase, as I was saying earlier, so the card's not as good as it was at WrestleMania time because a lot of people are gone. So NXT is not as exciting this time, and SummerSlam is, and the card is loaded. Can't wait to watch it.
You know what? All calling out NXT to step up and prove us wrong.
That's right.
We'd love to see it. Everybody wins if NXT proves us wrong.
All right,
this
so
weekend.
we have two great shows, NXT Takeover and SummerSlam. What one match is the match of the weekend?
If
Ooh.
if
What
it's
one
if it's
will
not
shine?
if it's not Rollins versus Balor, WWE failed us all weekend. If that's not the match of the weekend,
Yeah, I think you're right.
they'll
I hate to-
let it. They'll
I hate to
let us
agree 'cause
down.
it's not fun for the show.
Yeah,
But you're right. If
we don't
it
agree
should
much.
be. It should be that. It really should be. I mean, those guys.
Do you think it
can
will
go-
be, though?
Yeah,
it has to be. I
It
mean,
kinda has
if
to
it's
be.
not, we're doomed.
especially because they really want to showcase that new title. They should really go balls to the wall on this one.
Right. I want like almost 30-minute.
Almost
match.
30
Yeah.
minutes.
Yeah.
This has to be a match that
Big time
steals
match.
the show.
This
that-
needs to be
Clean
like,
finish too.
and it needs
please.
to be like how NXT matches and CWC matches have been, where the crowd is just
Oh my
loving
God.
it.
Like I love doing the show. I can't wait to go home and watch CWC tonight.
Yeah,
Like that's how good it is. Like I'm
that's
gonna
what I'm
go
doing when I
home.
get out of here.
Yeah.
I'm
Me
like,
too.
No, in 4 hours
Excited.
after I'm done uploading the video to YouTube and all this other stuff we got to do now.
All
putting
right.
that overtime.
So
That's
we
why
have,
you won this week.
Yeah, we have a great weekend here. Exciting. That's the count out. Ring the bell.
Nice. A couple things I want to mention before we go. Definitely Boneheads, SummerSlam. They're going to be doing it. Definitely go check them out. Great guys. They were in the studio last week for another show that we do, and he brought in a ton of wings, and they were all as delicious as they come. We had a great time with them guys. They did invite us to do a live show there. We just couldn't pull the trigger this week because on the short notice, but we do plan on doing some stuff with them in the near future. But we will be announcing anything if anything is to change. But definitely go check them out. 131 Washington Street, West Warwick. Tons of a selection. And then definitely go to brownpapertickets.com and get your tickets to Top Rope Promotions Summer Showdown. I can't wait for that. You know, they got, 5 names, names on the card. I'd like to see Kevin Nash and see what he does. Tommy Dreamer can still go in the ring. And I'll tell you, I just went to a huge event in Pawtucket, and the best guy was a ECW guy. It was Sandman. These guys still can go at their age. That was the best. It'll be fun seeing Vader. Even at his age. You remember a couple years ago the Heath Slater thing when he was Legends every week? He was the best one. He did a good job. I also want to give a shout out to local wrestler this week, Chuck O'Neal. Fought an MMA fight and kicked ass. Can I say that on the show?
Yeah.
You sure can.
Can I
You're the
say that on
boss.
show?
Say what you want.
I went to go check it out. He fights locally here at Top Rope Promotions, and we get to watch the fight, and it was awesome. It was awesome. It was fast. This guy had height, weight on him, and the guy took him down, and I was like, oh crap. He just whipped out, whipped him around, got on top of him, ground and pound, and it was awesome. It was.
Another thing I mentioned, wish a speedy recovery. Reading just a moment ago that Renee Young might have broken her ankle.
Oh, really?
Never like to see our sweetheart go down like that.
Nice.
We love all the women
What's she,
of
trip?
WWE. No report on, no word on how the injury was happening.
Hope it's not Dean Ambrose related.
Yeah, right. Usually reports on a wrestle injury, but now she has an injury of her own, as I'm reading on Raja.com. Thanks for the news. It was revealed that she injured her ankle on Tuesday, but no word on how it happened. But she wrote on Twitter that she's pretty sure it's broken. But there's no word if she'll miss any TV or anything like that.
She just has to stand there.
Yeah, sit
Yeah,
there.
I mean, it's not like
Sit
she has
there
to
and
run laps or anything
No.
like that.
Yeah,
Just
she
sit
does-
there, be pretty, and do your job.
Yeah,
No,
she
they got to
does
walk her
talking-
up, stand her up proper. And
She does
Yeah.
post-shows and
she's
pre-shows.
great.
I'm sure
Yeah.
Owens
No,
will.
she is
I'm
great.
sure
She's
Owens
fantastic.
will tease us something about it, but he can because they go back and they're Canadians.
Right.
Yeah.
But speedy recovery to Renee Young.
Yeah.
wish you well.
Absolutely. And I guess we'll end the show now on kind of a sour note. Local wrestler, friends with a lot of the guys. I was actually with a bunch of the guys, the local guys, when they got the call. Rest in peace, DC Dillinger. Been on the New England scene for a long time. Former partner with Eddie Edwards, and just from I didn't know him personally, but I definitely do love to support the local indie wrestling. And it's you could really see it on the faces of these guys when they heard that one of their own, had passed away. So, please.
And they mean something to the wrestlers when it's not a wrestler that everybody knows off the top of their head, but the wrestlers aren't paying their respects for attention like they would if Hogan died tomorrow.
No,
it's somebody that meant something to these guys.
Yeah.
That's how you can tell. It just shows lots of the type of person they really miss right now.
Yeah, it's it's a shame when these things happen, and for all the local wrestling guys out there that listen to our show, I'm sorry for your loss. A lot of these guys knew him. A lot of these guys were very close with him, and unfortunately, something like this had to happen at a very early age. So rest in peace, DC, and to all the local guys from Hurricanrana Wrestling, we're sorry. And until next week.
Enjoy the weekend.